Sup, nerd? Mingalava, welcome to another episode of SupCast. Here with me, Adam Tong, also known as Tuna. And today I have a very special guest. I mean, all our guests are special, but this one is a local filmmaker and a very good friend of mine. And was also a nerd slash geek for all things like comics, movies, superheroes, D&D. That's a little foreshadowing. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Randy Young. Hi, Randy.
Well, hello, misters. Yeah. Okay. Hi, sup nerd.
There we go. The Q is sub nerd. You gotta say like sup nerd.
Sup nerd.
How you been? So let's just do a little intro for you. Like, what do you do? What do you do in general?
Occasional filmmaker, educator. Trying to play more games. All kinds of games. I've been with this group that I've been GMing, which is game mastering or being the chief storyteller for our own little campaign for a good 2 to 3 years set in Dungeons and Dragons, which is what we are talking about today, right?
Yeah, again, like more foreshadowing coming. so
isn't like the title gonna be like the Legends of Vox Machina? I mean,
true.
Like if anybody is
just in case somebody
this,
stumble upon this like podcast, you're like, what are these guys talking about? Didn't see the title and all that. So yeah,
nobody stumbles. No. It doesn't. Okay, I don't know about you and tech. It doesn't happen that way. Somebody has to click something for something to happen.
YouTube, if they're just playing the playlist and stuff
if
like
you
that.
have autoplay on, okay,
there we go.
Yeah.
So we are talking about Vox Machina, which is a big deal and also kind of like a niche big deal. And maybe for those who haven't heard of Vox Machina, Randy, could you kindly explain what this is?
Okay, so we are talking about the legend of Vox Machina.
The legend of Vox Machina.
Yeah, specifically the 12 episodes series that's currently on Amazon Prime. I've got Adam to kind of watch it. I kind of forced him to watch it, but he kind of loved it. And then we started like.
Of course, I love it.
Why do? Okay.
We'll
it's the background of the Legend of Vox Machina. It's another animation. But what's special about it? I think it's kind of dear to my heart. Okay, first of all, I am a critter. I've been following Critical Role for quite a while. I've actually watched. Yeah, that's what. Okay. I actually watched all 115 episodes of Campaign 1. So the ones that they streamed. I actually watched the entire thing. So
how long are each episode? Like?
Okay, it can go on from 3 hours to 6 hours.
That's quite a lot of hours. So like over 100 episodes.
It's quite a lot, but I kind of zone off and like do other things, watch it like a podcast. But essentially what happened, I think in 2019, I think the people behind Critical Role, essentially they are voice actors. Some of them you're probably a fan of if you play video games. Adam would know, like Laura Bailey, Ashley Johnson from The Last of Us 2. Matthew Mercer, the Dungeon Master, is the voice of McCree, now currently renamed as something else.
Why did they change that though? Yeah, I heard about it, right? They changed the thing.
I don't know what the controversy is. I didn't follow it. I mean, isn't Overwatch like
kind of dead? Yeah, let's not go there.
Yeah, and I think Travis Willingham, you know him as Thor in Avengers, the Avengers animation. So I mean, this bunch of voice actors, they came together. They were playing their own home game, and then along the way, back in the day, there was Geek and Sundry where they met it, and Felicia Day asked them like, "Hey, why don't you put up your home game as a stream?" And then they did. So, and then fandom grew. So people following them, falling in love with the characters that they created. D&D essentially is a game where you play over the tabletop. You can now play online. It's great during this period where we had to stay at home. Then what happened was in 2019, they were shopping around. They wanted to make it into a TV series, animated series. They actually wanted to make one episode, and then they were shopping around with what big boys. None of them gave them any shit. They can't be bothered with them. They had no background in production and all that. And it's the underdog filmmaker story, which is it's great. So they turned to the fans, and they used Kickstarter and they blew it by what, like
Millions.
11 million, okay, right, 11 million, over 11 million US dollars
Quite a lot
was
of
raised.
money.
So it became, instead of one episode, it became a series.
A series,
and
right?
and it took a while. It was supposed to be out 2 years ago, but I think that COVID and everything has delayed it, which I think it may not be a bad thing because the quality that we got was so much more refined. So they shop around. Amazon picked it up. Amazon paid for season 2, which is good news for all of us. So yeah, and
So
that's that.
basically, it was actually the first season. Unlike other shows where Amazon picked it up, they pay them to do after watching the pilot, they pay them to do the rest of the season. It's not like that. They did the entire season, and it was just ready. It was just shopping around and completed animation, which is a different kind of approach, right?
I mean, for filmmakers or anybody into like creator-centered content, it's really power to the people, and I think that's what I kind of enjoy about it. I mean, besides the show being really fantastic, I think the story behind it is really fantastic because these are characters created by players who play a really nerdy game. I mean, it's there's no script. You evolve, you develop the characters and the story based on what you want to do. I mean, Adam, you joined me for like a game of two or Dungeons and Dragons, right? Yeah, I mean,
it's intense.
Huh?
The creativity is intense.
Yeah, it's because for me as the dungeon master or the game master, I'm kind of like the chief storyteller, but I set the premise and then you decide what you want to do in this world,
right?
And okay, if we go to film school or we talk anything about this series is not supposed to happen,
right?
You know what I mean?
So, it's this is basically like I like the backstory, right? Because how I see it is just like a couple of nerdy friends who happens to be voice actors in video games and animation. They just sat down and they play like this D&D game, and it just grew over a decade where they started streaming it. They got fans, and then it got turned into an Amazon Prime series. So it might be new to those who don't follow the D&D scene, but for those who do, this is sort of like legendary, right? It's been around for the longest time.
Yeah, the legend of Vox Machina is legendary in itself. Okay, of course, it spun off into even novels and comic books.
Comic books, yeah.
There's quite a lot of content available because there was pre-stream and all that. But there's a lot to go into. But essentially, if the appreciation for me for the Legend of Vox Machina, this particular series, is the story. I really appreciate it. It's really the spirit of independent filmmaking, and okay, I think that's
and that's what that's a big background on there. But like you mentioned, some of these the players involved, right? The players involved who are they're famous people for in a way that people like us we actually kind of know, but for those who are just like more film and like TV fans, they might not be familiar with. Can we talk more about who these guys are? The main genius, the head honcho. Who's the guy?
Okay, so Matthew Mercer.
My man.
Matthew Mercer is he created Exandria, the continent that they're playing on. No, the continent is Taldori, but the world is called Exandria.
Right.
So in campaign 1, you are experiencing what he created with in Imon and Whitestone, and I think in campaign 2, you're going to be brought to Wellmount or Wildermount. Or Wildmount, and then currently they're in campaign 3. They are in another world called Ankara, another continent. Essentially, he will build this. In fact, he has a new book out about it, Taldore Reborn or something.
Oh, yeah, he's a writer as well, right? So he wrote I believe he wrote the comics as well. He's one of the story writers.
Probably, but I think it was Liam O'Brien and the other Tellison who wrote it. I can't really remember.
Well. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Essentially, that was Matt Mercer. So he's the GM. He is the. There's something called the Matt Mercer effect as well, which we can talk about later. Which is because of the way he ran his game. A lot of D&D games become very pressured because of the elaborateness that his game has
So
developed.
basically being a dick.
No, it's setting a high bar.
I like that. So next
yeah.
time somebody's like, dude, you're being a dick. It's like, no, man. I'm just setting a high bar. Okay. I like it.
I mean, yeah, but it is a high bar. Okay, then you have Ashley Johnson, who you will know as what's her name? Ella? No, wait, shit. What's her
Ellie.
name? Ellie. Ella.
So I want to
Ellie from
point
Last
out,
of Us.
I want to point out Ashley Johnson because I can recognize her in every single project that she's a part of, because Ashley Johnson, being a veteran voice actress that she is, cannot do voices. She's just her own voice, and she's really good at it, right?
Yeah. I mean, dude, look. I mean, Keanu Reeves. It's the same guy.
It's the same guy in every movie. Or Jeff Goldblum, right? Yeah, it's like that. It's like these legendary. The reason I mentioned is because the rest of the guys, like Matt Mercer, Liam, and even like Laura Bailey, they are very versatile. It's very difficult if you don't read the credits and you're not that familiar with them to be able to point them out. Even in Vox Machina, the animated series, right? What we're talking about, I can't. Sometimes I'll be like, oh wait, hold on, who's this? You got it. Like the range is so huge.
Yeah, but with Prime, right, you can scroll up X-ray.
Yeah, just really pause it.
It's really good. Okay, let's get on. And then they have there's Liam O'Brien, who is playing Vex, and then playing his sister was Laura Bailey from Last of Us 2. Yeah, and she played
Abby.
Vex.
She was Abby and Vex. She was Abby in Last of Us 2.
Last of Us 2. She's also Black Widow in a lot of other animation.
And her husband.
And the husband is Travis Willingham, who played Grok in Intelligence 6. The last checked. But by the way, Travis, I believe he is like the smartest guy in.
I think he
there.
is.
He's like,
but I think he's having a ball playing that dumb guy.
He's the actual CEO of Critical Role.
Oh, he is. Oh,
yeah. Look, actually, you can tell. When he rolled the dice and he starts counting, he's amazingly fast. And he's a great player. It's the commitment to it. I think there was one episode he was telling himself like, "Oh, am I so committed to this character? I'm so dumb, but I have to do it. Grok has to do this," because it's the belief in the character, and because this as working with a lot of actors in film, right? It's also how actors actually believe in that character and they immerse us because they believe. I think that is something that's there. And I think the standout for you, and then there's Marisha Ray, who is Matt's wife.
Yeah,
he's Matt's wife. Yeah, wife now. She plays Keyleth. And then your favorite probably is Sam Riegel as Scallon. Short
MVP. Such a nice he's the nicest guy there, right? And the characters he plays is like, oh god. We'll get into that later on, when we talk about the characters.
And that's Trinket.
There's what?
Trinket, the bear.
Oh, Trinket, of course. How can you forget the bear?
Yeah, it's played by Matt Mercer, by the way.
Well,
so essentially, they got us the Vox Machina. I think after the first 2 episodes was just kind of a really condensed version of their pre-stream and just to get us into the character, because the strongest story that they had to tell in campaign 1 was actually the Briarwood arc, which I think a lot of us who discovered them on Twitch or on YouTube was actually watching them play through the Briarwood arc. Yeah.
And which season was that being played during the campaigns? Which campaign was that?
This is campaign 1. Campaign 1 is
this is campaign 1 itself.
This is campaign 1 itself, and this is probably like the second or third arc, which I can't really remember. Then the animation was done by Titmouse, who I'm looking forward to the Boys Diabolical, which they are.
It's by them as well, right?
Yeah, it's by them as well, and their style is I mean, they have Rick and Morty, they have Star Wars, Galaxy of Adventures. It's just very, very different.
Right.
But I think for this one, I think they went with a South Korean company. Let me see what's the name. Production or Production Reef, South Korean company to
Right.
help with the additional rendering.
I actually like what Amazon is doing here. Like on a side note, where it's that kind of adult, gritty, violent, animation series. Like started from, I think the first one was Invincible, right? When they did Invincible, that was like their Amazon's first foray into adult, action-packed, like violent. Is it like M18?
Maybe, but I'm not sure.
Right.
It may not be the first, but I think it's definitely the one that
got big, right? And then now we have The Legend of Vox Machina, and then we're gonna get like The Boys Diabolical as well, which again, we'll probably do a separate show.
Okay, so yeah, I know. So this is a really long and convoluted like introduction, but there's that, and then a bit more credit because I believe there's Phil Barossa who did Young Justice, Batman Hush, and a lot of DC stuff. He did the character art, character design, and Neil McCree did the music. And with Sam Riegel and Mr. Fantastic with Skyline Song. So these are sort of probably the key credits. And okay, so this is from a filmmaker perspective. Give credit where credit is due. So pardon the
for the unsung heroes.
The unsung
heroes. Not just
heroes.
the pretty faces and the gorgeous voices on screen.
Gorgeous voices.
Gorgeous voices. They're great.
Okay, fine. But I think the when you probably want to talk about the series a little bit more now. Because we can talk about the background for an hour and then we'll never get to it.
So the series for season 1 is 12 episodes. It was released in a very interesting way, like 3 apps per week, and it's like 4 weeks and you're done. You got the whole season. It covers, like you mentioned, the first 2 episodes was sort of like an overall introduction for this this group, like condensed introduction, and then the last 10 episodes straight into the Briarwood arc, which was sort of like the I think you told me earlier that it was sort of like the big part where the campaign itself found its footing, and it got really deep and dark, and people were like, whoa, we got something special here. How was it like, when you were watching it? How does it compare to the way they were telling the story in the show, in the animated series, and during the campaign? Can you give us like some examples?
Okay, I think that one of the key things that they wanted to do, which I think probably they have achieved it, is to let this be accessible to a wider audience.
Right.
And I mean, it's kind of open in a sense where I think they wanted that if you don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, D&D, and all that, you can still go into it and watch it like you will watch any other fantasy superhero.
Yeah, does it need like does it require like an entry level kind of knowledge to enjoy D&D content?
I think the character tropes are there. I mean, you have your elves, you have your gnomes, you have your the tropes are there. There's magic involved. It's a fantasy world.
Yeah, but isn't it more like like people who've been watching like these kind of shows, fantasy, magic, and all that, Lord of the Rings. You got even a bit of like Game of Thrones. It should be quite accessible. That's what I'm trying to ask. Like shouldn't it be more accessible?
Probably, you see, this attempt at making this into an animated series is probably gonna make it a little bit more accessible. I mean, if you are not interested in a bunch of people sitting around just talking for hours and hours, it's painful. But you see, I think as for me, especially when I'm because I teach film as well in school, and I think one of the key things that we wanted to do is that when we talk about film, the premise, how you set it, was very important. And to me, right, I think for an animation, the first 1 minute of episode 1 really just sets the tone. Can you remember what happened?
I love it. I was like, oh my god, this is great.
Do you think we can show like 1 minute here? Do we have the right?
Sure. I don't know. Twice, I'm not quite sure. 1 minute is like pushing it. I
don't know. I mean, just for
it's on YouTube, guys. Just go check it out. The
first minute.
Vox
you know,
Machina.
it just sets the entire thing. You know, it's so uninhibited. You know, it's violent, it's gory, it's
Cursings and all that.
explicit, and you
Yeah.
know, it's you know when you give the power of storytelling to the makers and the creators, you're not hampered by decisions from the studio. Hey, we want to
Executives and all
introduce.
that.
Wait, yeah, like what happened in like some other recent series that became somebody else's series in like episode 5 and 6. You know, it's a lot of pressure when that happens, and I think that because it's power, I think I you know, if given a chance to make content, I think you'll probably be as filmmakers the happiest when it's the content and stories that you want to tell. And I think yeah, it's really I'm so happy
Like
for them.
you mentioned that this is actually for the campaign took place over like 4 or 5 hour long episodes, like multiple times. So does this feel like more of a TLDR version, or did they manage to tell like a proper story for this particular arc?
No, I think I need to ask you because you're watching it fresh.
Right. For
Did you
me,
feel that way?
I did not, because I didn't watch the campaign stuff, right? So I don't think that it was rushed. I think it was great. But for fans like you who were watching and were familiar with the campaign, do you feel that it's more like a TLDR version? Would that kind of like alienate the fans of the campaigns?
I don't know. The feelings that we're getting from online and all the reviews that are coming out seems to be very, very positive. I feel that there's some parts that are, I mean, being very critical about it. I felt like for I know the first 2 episodes were important for newer audiences.
Right.
I don't actually I don't actually need that. So I would have preferred. I think, but it's not fair because you need to appeal to a wider audience. I would have I would have just jumped in at episode 3. I'll be quite happy. Yeah, because
But I personally felt the first 2 episodes kind of like gave me a good feel of what again, that was their the main
that's the
reason as well,
intention.
right?
Yeah,
That's
that's the
what they
intention.
wanted to do. It went like, it had the humor, the kind of like awesome fight sequences, the violence, the vulgarities, and also the kind of like deep, dark, kind of like thematic stuff happening. And the voice actors, I mean, the cast brought it. There are some things that went really dark, and I was like, oh my god, they're doing this in the first 2 episodes. It worked for me. It totally worked. Was that based on a campaign, or like is this more like
okay, because we didn't get to see the pre-stream,
right.
so we are only getting certain of the information. I mean, when they started streaming, it was actually an arc which was about them going to Crackhammer, if I remember right, and then they were to save what's the name, Stephanie Beatrice, is they got a name right?
Beatrice,
Stephanie Beatrice,
the dwarf, right?
yeah, her okay, she actually has a bigger role to play in the show. And then they had this whole arc before the Briarwood, which was them going, they made my mind flayers and beholders and all that, trying to save like Kima. And it was a really good arc, but it's not as it's probably not a good good decision, because it's not a really good entry point
Right.
for new audiences. I think I think that doing the decision to condense the first 2 but they were very clever about it, because they introduced the dragon already, because
that was in the campaigns, is it like
I think so, but I think that was pre-stream, so we didn't get to watch it. I mean, I read it over on wiki or on the comics, but there obviously a lot of things were not there. I mean, certain key things that you notice, like there's this moment where Vex, he wanted to go to the room, and then he had a belt that's made of there's a snake, and then he kind of threw the snake to kind of distract the guards.
The 2 guards. Okay.
I think it took Liam O'Brien like 6 episodes before he got the belt back, because he lost it, because they just slid it away, and then
6 episodes. That's
Yeah, like fucking yeah, like 14 hours before I got it back.
Were they still in that scene for like about 6 episodes? Are they still in the matter, like the dinner scene and all that
No, no, no,
stuff?
no, 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 no.
Oh no, no,
I
okay.
think that no, 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 no. But I think it's after that because they like,
Oh,
where's my
okay. So he
belt?
kept going
And they're
back to
like,
get
oh
it.
shit. Yeah, yeah. And then the palace guard refused to let him in. But you see, it won't play out well
Yeah, of
in a
course.
serialized drama because the end. And the dinner scene, I think I sent you that episode with the dinner scene. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't
The
seen the
dinner
whole
went
thing.
on
It
for
went for a
really
while, right?
long.
Yeah.
It went on for really well. There were a lot more intricate details in the dinner scene, a lot of like subtleties in the dinner scene, which unfortunately for the animation, it's kind of gone. Yeah.
Right. I
Um,
mean,
but
we
but
are
they had
like we are kind of like talking about spoilers already, but like if you have to like condense a little bit, like TLDR version of like the first 2 episodes and the whole the rest of the season, which is like from episode 3 till 12, how would you do a TLDR for somebody who hasn't heard or seen anything, and like to entice them?
dude, yeah. You didn't tell me this pre. Okay. We're freaking
So
putting me on the
if
spot.
you're actually, because the way you told me is like for me it's like easy. It's like, hey Adam, voice actors doing D&D stuff, go watch.
Yeah, yeah.
But what is it
I
about
think
overall? It's like it's just like a
no,
couple of misfits. You say like
yeah,
misfits.
it's if you kind of like Lord of the Rings, you kind of like Game of Thrones, and but think about it, like the heroes aren't that super.
Yeah, that's the
they're
point that I
extremely
like.
flawed.
They're very
And
flawed. They're more like kind of like loserish. They're like,
yeah, quite. And
like
then they yeah, it's kind of show that you if you like the underdog story, if you like just good friends hanging out together, just watch it. Don't find out too much about it. It's the kind of thing that I think if you discover it, it's the feeling of sometimes it's about you discovering something and then you feel like hey I discovered something, and then there's a certain magic to it. If somebody overtly sells it to you,
you'd be
I don't
like,
think
maybe not.
yeah, like, yeah,
Okay,
I'm just
but like
pandering to like
I was just wondering, like in high fantasy, kind of like these kind of stories, you do see Lord of the Rings where everybody's more like, yeah, they're flawed, but like they're more badasses. I don't dabble much in high fantasy, but I haven't seen
yeah.
or heard of like a mainstream, like even in a video game or comic book, TV series, movies, haven't seen this kind of a setup where you have a bunch of like kind of loserish dudes or
I
like
know,
these
right?
like adventurers. They're solo,
Yeah.
they're definitely losers, but they're in a group, but they're trying to like
Yeah.
make it through
No,
life.
maybe it's also how we are beginning as society to also get into content and the comic world, which of course we are both kind of in, where I mean the boys even before it was the TV show, it's a bunch of losers. I mean they have besides the female, they
I mean,
they have no abilities,
and like Huey
and
is a loser, but like you have like Butcher and all that. They're at least kind of Frenchmen. They're kind of cool because you the main guy is like the loser, but here
yeah,
it's just like everybody's just like kind of like, what's happening,
you,
guys? We're struggling.
you, but I think the idea that these characters will grow, and that there's a potential for
There's
growth,
greatness in them.
is actually it's like when I love Lord of the Rings, and it's the story of the hobbits.
Ah.
I mean, they can't do magic. They're tiny. They're uncourageous.
Very hairy feet.
They peace loving. Live in the Shire, somewhere in New Zealand. It's nice. It's just and but I think that makes them relatable. And I think that when characters like this grow and you kind of grow with them, you there's a different connection, I feel. I mean, if you start and then you're OP as shit,
like
okay, there are ways to tell it that like One Punch Man. But that's a very different
kind of story.
It's a different kind of story. Yeah, this is. I think there's a lot of sincerity in this, and I think that the creators probably went into it without realizing what it will become, and I think that is amazing. Yeah.
I mean,
So
back to that story part, right? And also for the first season, I mentioned earlier that they did 3 apps per week, and within a month it was all done. Do you think that kind of helped, or because for me it didn't feel like 12 episode at all? Because I was just like watching like the moment they're out, it's like, oh, it's about an hour and a half. You sit down for a movie. Do you think that this
yeah.
kind of like format works?
It's interesting because I think a lot of them came from dubbing animation, so they are very familiar with animation. And I think they also studied like the watching habits of somebody who watch animation. Like when I watch anime, right, I
Right.
refuse to watch it week by week. I'll wait for it to like consolidate like 3-4 weeks and watch it.
Interesting. Okay.
And yeah, like Demon Slayer, right? I waited for the entire season 3 to be completed before watching it. Because it's good to like spend a weekend and just binge it and just absorb it. And I I feel like this half an hour, 20 minutes format, you're like,
True, right? It's not like a 1 hour show per week. It's like half an hour or less, 20 minutes.
yeah,
something, right?
it's 20 minutes plus the song is 18 minutes.
You don't skip the song.
Yeah,
You don't
I
skip
do.
the song. Are you doing? What is wrong with you?
I watch it once. I watch it once, then skip it through.
But I like that because I didn't know about that kind of a perspective. Like they kind of like knew that this kind of a format will work better for animation, especially shorter kind of like animation episodes.
I mean, if they're gonna be experimental, then experiment even with the release format. I mean, what's they gonna lose?
The advantage they have is like you mentioned, right? They already have all 12 episodes. It's not like being done right now, before the release date. So, do you think it'll continue in season 2 as well? Because it's official and it's going to be season 2.
I have no idea. But I think ultimately, I think like now with Netflix and all that, where you release, and then you
The
can
whole
do it
thing,
weekly
like,
or you do the whole thing. I think it's kind of the decision of the distributor. So let them figure it out. I think they'll probably find some sweet spot somewhere. But it's a good study though. I don't know if
yeah,
it
it's
works better or
interesting.
not, but I like it. I like it that it's Friday here, and then suddenly just like, okay, put things aside, let's just watch.
For about
It's cool.
like a short movie's worth of time, right? You sit
Yeah,
down
yeah,
and just enjoy.
and it doesn't take too much. I think binging like 12 episodes is a bit too much, but like watching just 3, it's like it's just nice.
Just nice, just
Yeah,
nice.
just nice. Just nice.
Speaking of nice, going back a bit about the song, the one you skip. What happened to the song version, which I was a big fan of, like even though I don't
What are you
watch the
talking about?
episode, right? That
What are you
was
talking about?
like the lyrics version, where
Oh, you mean in the campaign?
in the campaign they animated it. They animated an intro.
Your
Remember?
turn to roll.
Yeah, like
that one, right?
roll, critical roll.
Yeah, the one that used like when they were in Gen Con or something, everybody was singing. It's a song that was for campaign 2. The lyrics of the song was tagged to campaign 2. So
okay,
it didn't really make sense for this one.
That's why.
Yeah, but there were so many new songs. I mean, okay, because Sam's character, Scanlan, when he was playing it, there was a lot of improvisation. So a lot of times when he's a bard, so he uses music as his spell. So if you watch the campaign, there's a lot of improvisation when he casts his spells. So, but they actually wrote the songs for him to perform, which I think was really fun and used like not overtly. Not too much.
He's a great songwriter as well. He writes like catchy tunes and like the lyrics are like hilarious. I just like, okay, I know we're all over the place right now, so like, we just
Okay,
let's talk about the characters first, okay? Can you introduce like each character and like what they're supposed to be like? It's just a quick.
Are we gonna get
intro?
Are we gonna get cut? Are we gonna get cutscenes?
Cutscenes? Yeah, why not? Okay, start with the first one. Who's the first one?
Okay, you name them and I'll introduce them.
Okay, let's just go with the twins.
So is Vexadine and Vexalia. So they are half elves or elves? No, half elves. So it's Vex and Vex. Yeah, half elf. They Vex and Vex. big backstory. There's a book about them called Keith and Keen out now. I feel like I'm doing a plug, but they are they are extremely good looking elves.
Half
One's a
elves.
rogue. The male elf Vex is a rogue, and the female Vex is a ranger, which is your favorite class.
Archer! Anybody with a bow and arrow, especially a
Yeah, they
female one.
are half elves, and yeah. So that's them. Who's next?
The star of the first season, I guess, Percy.
Percy tells Jaffe. Okay, he's human, but his class is interesting because
Is he a mage, like dark mage?
no, he's not. The closest class that you can think of for him is
Alchemist?
probably an artificer.
Oh,
But it was interesting because during the time when we were playing it, there was no artificer or tinkerer class.
okay.
It came a little bit
just
later.
made it.
There's a lot of homebrewed stuff that they did in the game.
Okay.
So and then they were originally not playing Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. They were playing Pathfinder. So they actually switched it over to 5e because 5e was a little bit more accessible after that.
Right.
So his class was almost totally like created.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He's like, I mean, it is his like campaign, right? And like his character did a lot of things in season 1 that I just like, wow, that was like badass as hell and also dark as hell, you know. Like I really
like
I wasn't
they
like
went
yeah, like
they went that far, right?
yeah, and then the mask on and all that stuff. I wasn't like that intrigued with him, like, but then over the course of this season, I was just like, wow, blown away. All right, next up, the most recognizable voice, Pike.
Oh, Pike. Pike is Pike Trickfoot. Ashley Johnson. She is a cleric, like a priest, like a healer.
She's a gnome, right?
Enough,
She's a little
gnome.
person.
Yeah, gnome. Gnome, not halfling. Gnomes are smaller.
Smaller.
So gnome. Yeah.
She's so cute.
And and then there's Scanlan, short hop.
Ooh, the
Sam Riegel.
MVP.
MVP, man.
MVP. He's a gnome as well, right?
He's a gnome as well. And I think our preconception of what gnomes is, you know, like the little fellas in the garden with like the white beard and the red hair. You know, gnomes are a little bit different.
The garden ornaments, yeah.
I think is that all? Is that all?
No, like what about Grog?
Grog's genre. Grog is a Goliath. He's a half giant. Interestingly enough, if you know the law of D&D, Goliaths are no, they're not. It's Furbolgs who are the smartest. Goliaths are Goliaths. They're like big behemoths, half giants.
Half giants. Like he seemed to be able to take a lot of like damage. Is there a class thing or is it like
the barbarian class? I think if there's a line in I think episode 1 or 2 where he said I like to rage, and when the barbarian is in rage, you know, all his damage he's taking is half. So he's kind of the tank for the group.
Right. And you're forgetting Marisha's character, Keelip.
Okay, can't forget it. I think they really worked very hard to bring out Keylif's character. There's a reason behind it. I think it's a very deliberate journey for her. As much as you think that the interesting thing about Dungeons and Dragons is that if you are the player, your character is the lead character in the game.
Right. Okay.
So that's a very interesting perspective. Okay, so you would think that Didi is the main character in our game anyway. So but the issue that I think Marisha had, I think that she got a lot of haters during the first campaign when he was on show because Keylif, the way that it was played was a little bit uncomfortable because Keylif was a character that was created in a way that she's very uncertain about her decision. She is socially awkward, and because of that, there are certain things that the druid does or did not do for the group that became a a hindrance to the group, and because of that, it's like when the campaign was going on, I think people were commenting like, hey, that's not how you play a druid, why are you so weak, blah 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 blah. But you know, the way that now you see how her story is shown and how it's expressed in this campaign, I don't think you feel that way. Yeah, you don't feel that way. I think it's a lot of growth.
Yeah. So what I noticed about her character, again, I didn't watch the campaigns, right, is that she was unsure. She's always like, she is powerful. You get to see that like a couple of times, but she was like kind of like timid and unsure about her powers. Is that actually based on like Marissa's real life experiences? So are you saying that it's sort of like kind of like influenced?
No,
I
think it's no, I think okay. She's totally a like super confident woman, and it's the character that they've created. I mean, it's like okay, it's not so obvious, like, but for like Travis and Grob, right? He created a character that's a little bit of a dum dum, but when it also lends to how society views people who are a little bit more introvert, and I think that is also a commentary about that, which it's quite difficult if you're just watching it to watch the development of a character in a condensed 10-12 episodes. You can see it because it's content that we are, but if you're watching it over hundreds of episodes, you're like, oh my god, it can get
how do you even keep track, dude? Like if it's like a series, just say 10 episodes, by the third season, I might be like trying to look back, like, oh my god, I might have forgotten stuff about like season 1.
No, it's okay. It's very deliberate. In fact, it's a bit like Dave Filoni when he created Ahsoka. It's a deliberately.
It sounds interesting.
Okay. So we are crossing over to the other verse, right? I read an article, I saw a video about it as well. When Filoni created Ahsoka was so hated in the first season of Clone Wars. She's too cocksure of herself. She defies authority. It seems that there's no consequences in her actions, but it was a very deliberate story writing, character development, like intention from the showrunner and the writer, and because of that imperfection, when Ahsoka grew in like season 2, season 3, and it's a very slow review because it was freaking 7 seasons of, she became like the most loved character. She's back there. I can see like maybe there's also a parallel there. So making decisions about, for filmmakers, when we make, or writers, when we make decisions about characters that are a little bit more flawed, and especially like social awkwardness, it's actually not so easy to show. In fact, it may be deemed as weakness in the beginning, but when you start to discover this character and how this person is growing and what it means for that journey to happen and allowing that to happen, I think it's important.
So you're saying like Marissa actually created this character deliberately to be that kind of a character?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Because I think everyone created the character pretty deliberately. And they are totally not that character. I mean, if you see Marissa's character in campaign 2, totally badass, like monk and like poo. And currently her character in campaign 3 is, should I spoil this?
No, don't.
Okay, she's like an undead warlock, and it's like super creepy girl.
Spoilers.
I'm a lot now. No, it's not spoilers. It's just characters. So I'm not giving you. I didn't give you her backstory, which is the spoiler.
I also like love how Sam, being like the nicest guy, a family man, who writes all the songs and all his characters, Scanlan. It's just like the most horrible, the womanizing. Oh my god! It's like
I think I know the Sam is. I don't know. He's a bit masochistic. I think he said in the interview, I think I showed you yesterday, that he said like something like, "Oh, I really enjoy failing," because it's because it's true. When it makes for really good storytelling. When you make a lot of good decisions, sure, but when things like mess up is where.
And then you try to crawl out of that hole that you dug yourself into, right?
I mean, that Scamble episode, the one that he went alone to that
To
to the
the
mansion.
river, yeah.
It's like, the fuck are you doing, man? Like, why you split the party? What are you doing? But it's great. It's memorable.
Yeah, and then we have to mention about, because they are veteran voice actors and actresses, right? The voice acting is just like crazy good. And I think it's probably the
You,
best I've seen in an animated series.
you know what they did, right? They recorded together.
Oh, wow.
Did you see the behind the scenes where
No, I didn't see.
the main
I saw the song one, and then I saw them do like at the New York Comic Con like a live read, which was freaking impressive as well. But I didn't see the behind the scenes. So they record everything together.
No, the main cast did that. I think it's impossible for everybody else. I think if you know
Right.
like voiceover for animation and you do voiceovers yourself, you know that you kind of recording solo most of the
course,
time.
in the booth, right?
So
In the box.
yeah, so they kept the energy going. So there's I think a lot more they kept it like the show where they kind of stand together, even with Matt Mercer. Oh, we forgot about Matt Mercer playing Silas.
Matt
Silas
Mercer.
Briarwood.
Okay, so every episode we were
Okay.
playing the game where like figure out who Matt is.
Spot Matt Mercer.
Usually it's the old guy. It's like, so, because everybody
Okay.
loves him doing the old man voice.
Okay, let's keep it together now. Okay, so their voice director, Mary Elizabeth McLean, the voice director for the show, for the series, is interesting because she's a veteran voice director, and she actually plays a character in their campaign.
Oh, in the campaign,
which
not
is-
in the animated
yeah.
series. Okay.
No, I was kind of disappointed that her character didn't show.
Didn't
Maybe
show
we'll
up,
see it
okay.
season 2.
Maybe.
Zara, a tiefling
Like a
warlock.
clothing outlet.
Z-A-H-R-A.
Okay.
Zara Hydris, if I remember the name correctly.
Cool name.
So she was the voice director. I think the decision to put them together so that it's kind of less, so that the camaraderie and the
chemistry,
what they
right,
have, yeah, the kind of chemistry that they have, I think it works in that, in that setting.
Oh, that's pretty
Just
cool. It's like,
yeah,
it's like Pearl Jam. I mean, it's not a direct comparison, but like with Pearl Jam nowadays, when they record albums, they don't do it like line by line anymore.
Session.
The whole session, everybody's playing together. You record like, okay, this is a good take. That's it. It goes on to the album. That's like crazy, dude. It's not like one guy just playing the guitar, the bass is like, doing the bass lines. Interesting.
That's a very good analogy. It's like a good band playing together.
Oh, wow. I didn't know about this.
Wow.
Cool.
Wow.
So let's I mean we talked about what we love about the series and all. If you have to, grade it, like score it out of 10 kind of a thing, how much would you for season 1?
I think it's a good 9.7, 9.8 for me.
Wow, that's like super high. We don't even have like 0.7 or 8 here, but like we never.
Yeah, I give that 0.2 off because unfortunately I was watching Demon Slayer and the animation standard was unlimited budget.
The animation standard a little bit. I mean, the style is different. It's a style.
It's different. It's not. No, I'm not saying that the animation is bad. I think
of course.
I'm not saying that it's bad. I think it's good, but because we're in 2022 and the Japanese are just knocking it out of the park. So it's but then again, having I think the style is pretty distinctive, man.
It is, right? It's sort of like a mix.
Yeah.
Had that Castlevania look, but with more Western, because Castlevania looked more Japanese anime style. So this one got like a mix of Castlevania and then like more Western style.
That's right. No, okay. It didn't help that Arcane came out this year. So Arcane is a perfect 10 for me.
Arcane was so good though. Arcane was so good.
Arcane League of Legends. I mean,
the storytelling, the music. Okay, I really hated the intro song though. I don't like Imagine Dragons, but the rest is like great. It was just like I would give it like I think I gave like Arcane maybe a 9 because of that intro song.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so you're talking about
Story
like
wise, story wise.
9.5 because of the animation around there.
Yeah,
Ish.
but like if Arcane is a 10 for me, if we comparing apples with apples,
Apples with
Western
apples.
animation. I
Right.
mean Western animation standard. I mean, yeah, it can be a bit. Yeah, yeah. Hey, did you? I have another. Did you know that I wrote down here?
Huh?
Do you know Ashley Burke wrote episode 4?
What?
Ashley Burke, the voice of
Really?
Eloy in
I know Ashley
Horizon
Burke,
Dawn.
of course. Yeah.
She wrote episode 4,
Of
my favorite episode.
Oh, wait, which one is episode 4 where they
The raves came
Oh,
out
the
and they were like,
race. What? She wrote as well.
yeah.
Damn. Ah, she is so lucky to be in the industry. You know how she got her break, right? It was a brother.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
Huh?
so basically, a little like, side note, her brother got because she was the one who was doing her brother and her, they were doing Hey Ash, what you playing, right? Those kind of like web series before even like web series are a big thing on YouTube, like crappy camera work and all. So the brother
Yeah, yeah.
got a job writing for Borderlands, and then he was writing a character, Tiny
Oh.
Tina, and he wrote it
Oh.
with her Ash in like mind, saying like, oh, the annoying voice that she does. And he's when they were about to cast, he's like, oh, my sister actually is based on this. Let's cast her. And she got it and she got in. That's how she got into the industry. And now Tiny Tina got her own games. She's Aloy. Oh God. And now she's writing an episode of Vox Machina, working with Matt Mercer and gang.
Anyway, she played a character in campaign 2.
Oh.
She played a character called Cake, who is very close to your character. A dwarf.
A dwarf.
A dwarf. Yeah.
Just for the record, my character was like a tall dwarf who's also an archer. But yeah.
Taller than the average dwarf.
Okay, before we wrap up, I just want to mention about the campaigns were it was ongoing for about a decade, right? Or more. I think it's about over a decade now, I think, right? They've been playing. A lot of people came in and then went out as well. Who are some of the stuff like what some of these like people and what happened to them?
What do you mean? Like
in the campaigns, they were like different voice actors or like players doing like different characters, and they were not part of the animated series.
I think you'll probably see them coming in. I think there was also a Hollywood situation. What's Deathstroke's name? Joe
DiMaggio?
No, Joe DiMaggio. Deathstroke. Joe
Yeah, I can't pronounce his surname.
Joe Mac. So Joe actually has a Hollywood Elites Club D&D game going, with like Vince Vaughn and BD Wise and all that, and he guest starred in I think it's probably towards the end of campaign 2 or campaign 1, but maybe in season 2 and season 3 you might see his character.
Right.
So he has Deborah Ann Wall has a guest star as well, if I remembered. Yeah, same. Both True Blood alumni, big D&D gigs. But I think I think Vin Diesel. I think Matt Mercer played a game with Vin Diesel, but he never appeared in their thing. So, but I think that's the whole Stardom thing. There were also, I think Felicia Day also had a character. She played a random character in the show, because what I think the series did, which unfortunately the actual campaign didn't do, was attempting to have a little bit more inclusivity.
Right.
Yeah, because you have Matt and he's playing every other character. Apparently he has like 660 NPCs that he has. 660 NPCs, the range. But I think that given the opportunity in the series, where you start to see a little bit more representation, Uriel Teldore by Carrie. I think Carrie played the character, and then you start to see a little bit more diversity in the
Right.
campaign, which I think it's Kelly Hu is Anna Ripley.
Ah,
You didn't know?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know
And
Kelly
then
was actually
I mean,
involved.
yeah, and then I think one of my favorite characters in the campaign was Laura, which had a smaller role in this. Indira Verma played Laura, so she's quite a smaller role in the series itself. But I think it gives that opportunity. I think the other character, the standout character, was Sean Gilmore, which they cast an Indian voice actor,
Oh
Sunil,
yeah, I
to
remember.
play
It
Sean
was
Gilmore.
actually originally voiced by Matt, right?
I mean,
Was it Matt
Matt
or Matt
voiced
voiced
all the
everybody,
other
all the other
NPCs.
NPCs?
So yeah, so male, female, whatever. It's the monsters, everything. But I think Sean Gilmore was Sean Gilmore has an action figure made by Todd McFarlane. I mean, it's that kind of fandom that's going on with that.
Wasn't there like a character that Mason Alexander Park voiced? It's Mason is like going to be Desire in the upcoming Sandman series from Netflix.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's
man!
like
But you
gender
got excited
neutral
because
kind of an
of
actor, writer.
okay.
Yeah.
You got excited because of David Tennant.
The what? Oh, David Tennant.
David,
Yeah.
I
He
was
was. I
excited
mean,
about Rory.
he was so good. But again, like in the campaign, it was Matt, right? It was Matt doing an accent. Was he doing an accent as well? Was he like Scottish? Right.
I don't know, but Matt can do it. Matt can do it.
Of
But
course, he could do like a lot. Matt got
Rory
range, man.
McCain, I mean, freaking the Hound was in it. That was like
So you're saying that we might actually see these
Gina
characters like
Terrence.
those who are not part of the season one more in like
I don't
season two
know.
and three.
I don't know how they're
Wait,
gonna do season two.
yeah. So that's
Um,
my next question actually. Like before we
yeah.
wrap up, are we? Are they going like in chronological order? And then what do you think is going to happen in season two? Or are they going to jump up to another big, more impactful like arc? What do you think?
Okay. I can't talk about what's gonna happen in season two because I know what's gonna happen next.
Oh,
So
no.
but you got a hint of it with those things. I can't say it right unless unless we do a spoiler alert thing. I
Spoiler
mean
alert.
those things appearing at the end, it's not gonna be easy, man. It's gonna be tough. Those
Those
monsters
things,
appearing at the end.
those
Yeah,
flying
those
things.
monsters, those flying like lizards coming to the end. It's I mean,
And then
hey,
a
it's called
cliffhanger. I was
Dungeons
like,
and
what?
I mean, and what the hell? It's called Dungeons and what?
Dungeons and
And
what?
Dodos. Dungeons
Dungeons
and
and
Dodos.
Dodos. We should do a campaign with Dungeons and Dodos. Feral dodos chasing you through
Brought to you by
dungeons. That's a game.
the World Wildlife Fund for prevention of extinction of animals. It's gonna be it's I don't know how they it's quite a big where okay, I honestly don't know how they're gonna do it because even I mean season one of Vox Machina,
Machina.
it's still like a one character's journey. You know what I mean?
It was Percy's
It's
journey,
it's
right?
it's Percy's journey and his backstory. So things are a little bit tighter and focused. Knowing what's gonna happen in campaign two with the flying dodos.
So the flying
Um,
dodos are part of campaign two, that's for sure, right? So that's what they were teasing
uh,
for season two. Okay.
yeah. But they were already teasing what's gonna happen at the end of it already in the current season.
Was it like Vex's
So,
like headaches or like
no, that's her kind of her. Okay, they took a lot of liberties with her. She's supposed to have an ability where she has affinity or knowledge of dragons. So I think that the way of showing was quite clever. I think the way that they showed somehow they represent some of the spells that were used was quite clever. And not even saying what the spell is, I think was nice. It's kind of open to interpretation, which is nice. But because they don't have a season three like in the
confirmed?
bag,
Right. Okay.
I don't know, man. If they're gonna condense so much into season
Season
2,
two.
it's gonna be a lot. It's a
Did
lot.
they announce how many episodes it's going to be for season 2? Or is it going to be 12 as well?
Maybe they. I don't know. Maybe they did. I didn't really pay
I mean,
attention.
they might be able to do it because, like, you mentioned season 1 story arc was like how many hours, how many like episodes, and that's like 4 or 5 hour for each
50,
episode.
60 episodes. 50, 60 episodes.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of hours that they condense into, and it's only like 10 episodes, right? The first 2 was like not even part of the arc, so maybe they can do it. I don't know. I definitely won't be able to go through all the seasons. Like, it's impossible. But
No,
I'm definitely
I
looking
mean,
forward to season 2.
I mean, even with my friends who plays D&D with me, they didn't watch through the entire thing, or even if they did, it's just like little sprockets. But having the series, condensed into 12 episodes, I think it was good. It's it's highly recommended. I mean,
It's like
even if you
9.5 from Randy, and I'll probably give it about like
yeah,
9, I guess, because I'm still like, because
that's
you
good.
were watching with you're watching while you're also watching, what was it, like Demon Hunter? No,
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer. So
Yeah.
for me, it was like I was watching with Peacemaker. Peacemaker is actually my current favorite show of the year
Apples
so
with
far.
apples lah. Animation,
I mean, it's
animation.
anime, but story-wise, and character growth, and like how you're
Okay.
invested in characters. Peacemaker actually hit me. James Gunn hit me deep in the heart, man. So,
Hey,
but
hey,
still,
you.
Fox, it's still good. Like,
I
really.
mean, the the difference is you have like A-list James Gunn, and
Well,
this
John Cena is
bunch
not
of
an A-list actor, but now I'm a big fan.
no,
I'm
but
gonna
it's
buy some
this, it's
toys.
this
The
shit.
script,
It's the
acting as
story,
well.
lah.
A story,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's a story. But you have a very good writer, director, and showrunner. But these guys are not. They
Which is
aren't.
also another cool story, right? Like they're
Which they are
actually
not.
voice actors, like creative
Yeah,
people. They just made this. So
yeah,
yeah. So you should support creatives like these.
yeah, man. Look at the dice. Yeah. Roll
You
dice.
should definitely go watch this. It's now available on Amazon Prime. It's about 20 plus minutes each, 12 episodes. You could actually binge it within a day. You could definitely binge it. It's 6 hours. You just need 6 hours, right? The whole show is 6 hours right now. So go watch.
Yeah,
Start doing the math. Just need 6 hours, 3 hours in a row. Take a break, go eat some food, come back, 6 hours. Done.
and we're not paid. We're not paid to say this. We're just saying it as because we
Amazon,
love
if
the
you're
show.
listening, or Matt, hey, we support you guys.
Yeah, shout
Okay,
out
I
to
think
everyone there, man.
I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you so much once again, Randy, for joining us here on
Thanks,
SupCast.
Adam.
Appreciate it, man. We're definitely
Sup?
gonna talk more. Maybe we'll do an episode on D&D. Oh, before we go, any shout outs to, like, if those who are interested in D&D or who loves Vox Machina and want to find out more about these kind of things, what would you recommend?
YouTube.
Any local ones that you want to, like,
Oh
point us in the
yeah,
direction to?
yeah. I think the local guys in Singapore. I think the Sheena, Joe, Ed, Lisa, and their GM Ramji. They have a Twitch channel called the Fourth Culture. I don't think they have updated any new content. I think Joe Tan also wrote a play called Session Zero, which came out last year in December. But if you want, like, not the predominantly white culture fantasy, you can check out the Fourth Culture. It's interesting because you have a lot of Singlish in it. It's contextualized. Yeah, a lot of Asian pride in that one. Yeah, I think they have quite a good show going on with that. I think it's good.
Sweet,
Yeah.
sweet. We'll check it out. All right. Thank you so much once again, Randy. This is Adam Toal for SupCast. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye. Sup,
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 nerd.
likes and shares. Sup,
Sup.
likes and shares.
Sup, nerd.